Now, 12 organizations, including the Unemployed People's Trust and Black First Land First, working under the slogan, Hands Off President Zuma, are marching to Luthuli House in Johannesburg today. Now, the memorandum includes calls for President Jacob Zuma to remain the head of state. Aldrin Smapear is at Mary Fitzgerald Square. That's apparently where they're all going to be gathering in Newtown, Johannesburg. Aldrin, good morning to you. So, you know, we're reading from the JMPD as well that have just told us that they are absolutely unaware of this march, and it certainly is not a protected gathering. So I imagine today is going to be a bit of a volatile one.
Well, strangely, I'm not too sure which march the JMPD will be speaking of, but the BLF march, which is the Hands Off Jacob Zuma march, they've made it clear that they have received permission to march all the way to Luthuli House. While on the other hand as well, what we shouldn't forget is that there is also the Protect Luthuli House march that will be taking place. And these are members of the ANC in Gauteng who said that they will be protecting Luthuli House and form a human chain around Luthuli House to prevent these people who form part of this coalition of parties and organizations that will be marching to Luthuli House and demanding on the ANC to leave President Jacob Zuma in place and allow him to continue and finish his term, that they must prevent it from entering Luthuli House. So not too sure which march the JMPD could be speaking of. But right now we are here in Mary Fitzgerald Square. The guys who said that they are the ones who will be protecting Luthuli House, they were expected to convene here at around 7 a.m. and then march all the way to Luthuli House and then form this human chain. But what I can tell you right now, Leanne, I'm just going to ask the cameraman to just quickly pan and give you a sense of what's currently happening. There's absolutely no sign whatsoever that there will be a protest or a march that will be happening, apart from the number of police officers that are here. Look at the police contingent that has been placed here on standby in anticipation of these marches that will be making their way to Mary Fitzgerald Square and of course marching all the way to Luthuli House. So it certainly seems from the police side that they are quite prepared for this, and as you've said, that the JMPD is saying that they are unaware, but quite clearly the police themselves, they are aware of this march that will be taking place today, and that's the reason that you have this police contingent to ensure that those who will be marching to Luthuli House, whether it is the hashtag Hands Off Jacob Zuma or those who are saying that they'll protect Luthuli House, that there is no incident whatsoever, no violent incident. But listening earlier on to the BLF, they've made it clear that they want no black on black violence, quote unquote, and saying that only thing that they want is that they want to deliver this memorandum of demand. And I was speaking to one of the conveners of the hashtag Hands Off Jacob Zuma, who said that all they want to do is hand over this memorandum of demand, and they find it quite strange that there will now all of a sudden be this human chain around Luthuli House, also considering that some of these people who are part of the Hands Off Jacob Zuma march are people who are members of the ANC.
Well, so what you're telling us now, that nobody has gathered as yet, and that was meant to start at 7 o'clock, that they were meant to be gathering there. Handing over this memorandum, is it basically as we stipulated, and as you're saying, I mean, I'm wondering if there's anything else in the memorandum saying that they demand that President Jacob Zuma remains the president of the country until his term ends in 2019. Is that in a nutshell what they're demanding, or is there more to it?
Well, well, that's the central part of that memorandum of demand, ensuring that President Jacob Zuma remains in office up until 2019, but also the scathing attacks that they're making against Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of the ANC. They're accusing him of being a white monopoly stooge. They're saying that he is protecting white monopoly capital, and he does not have the interest of black people at heart. And they believe that President Jacob Zuma, also considering, for instance, that the ANC's elective conference has taken a decision that there should be land expropriation without compensation. Of course, we heard the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, coming out and saying that it must be done in a manner that does not have a negative impact on the economy or negative impact on South Africa as a country. They are saying that those are signs that Cyril Ramaphosa is somebody who would want to protect the status quo and want those who currently own the land to remain the landowners and wouldn't be able to see through the implementation of this land expropriation without compensation. They also mentioned, of course, the issue around the free education, and saying that President Jacob Zuma is quite clear that there should be free education, and that's the reason why he made the announcement just before the ANC's elective conference, that the announcement that the president made was in the interest of the majority black poor people here in South Africa, and that's the reason why they are marching. They believe that the president would be quite central in ensuring that these policies that were adopted at the ANC's elective conference are seen through.
Aldrin, just finally and very quickly, do you have any idea who forms part of this hands-off Zuma? Obviously, you know, we know the Black First, Land First organization, but the hands-off Zuma campaign, who is a part of this?
Okay, I'm going to go through one of the statements that they actually issued, and just go through the list of organizations that are part of this hands-off Jacob Zuma march that will be taking place. We have the Unemployed People's Trust, it's the National Taxi Alliance, the Gcina Masheli, the Ex-Miner Workers, Voice of the Mine Workers Union, the Black Caucus, Nefuba Umbimbi Labutu, of course, as you mentioned, Black First Land First, as well as the MK Nkululeko Foundation, and these are 12 organizations that are part of this march that will be taking place. But you know, and quite interesting though, is that you have this organization, and you have these 13 organizations that are saying, that 12 organizations that are saying hands off President Jacob Zuma. Yesterday, an organization under the Future of South Africa, which includes FEDUSA, which includes Save SA, which includes OUTA, these organizations, and these are like plus 30 organizations that have sent a letter of demand, or rather letter to Cyril Ramaphosa, and saying that on Thursday the State of the Nation will be addressed, and the State of the Nation, what's integral to the State of the Nation is integrity as well as accountability. And they argue that President Jacob Zuma lacks both of these qualities, and they are saying that President Jacob Zuma must not be allowed to address the State of the Nation address. And quite interestingly though, is that the Future of South Africa's convener is Mandla Nkomfe. If you remember that Mandla Nkomfe used to be the former MEC of Finance here in Gauteng, so he is an ANC member. So now we can see that the level of contestation that is going on outside of the meetings that have been taking place on whether President Jacob Zuma should go, that there is this level of contestation amongst ANC members as well about what should happen to President Jacob Zuma come SONA, or his future within the ANC, or the future of him as the state president and the president of the country, of course, heading into the 2019 elections.
All right, we'll leave it there. Aldrin, thanks so much. We'll see if we can cross back to him if anything develops there in that area. But as you can see, it's quiet at the Mary Fitzgerald Square. The only people that are there at the moment are the police, and it's expected that lots of people are meant to be gathering there that are meant to walk to Luthuli House and then form that human chain to protect President Jacob Zuma. So let's take a break here on the program.